Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is 1 Hour Photo, a thriller from 2002. The episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to stream on all of the major services for $2.99. Go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
Yep, so welcome to Screen Riot. I'm Justin, and I'm joined with co-hosts Eddie, Kyle, and John. And this week, like John said earlier, we're taking a look at a thriller from 2012 called 1 Hour Photo. The film tells the story of Seymour Parrish, also known as Cy, and played by Robin Williams, who is a lab technician at a 1 Hour Photo counter. The Yorkin family have been customers of his for years, and Cy has watched their son, Jake, grow from an infant to 9 years old, all from afar from developing their family photos. But however, Cy's loneliness, resentment, and lust of the Yorkin family finally comes to a head when he learns of an affair through the development of the husband's mistress's photos that shows the pair in compromising positions.
Dun dun dun.
Yes. So 1 Hour Photo is rated R and stars Robin Williams, Connie Nielsen, and Michael Vartan. Thought it was kind of interesting too while I was looking up some information about this. I always like to look up who the director was.
Yeah.
So this was directed and written by Mark Romanek, and I've never heard of that before. He's directed his first film was a film called Static in 1985. Never heard of it. Supposedly it's supposed to be an interesting movie. Like it gets like critic, kind of
like good reviews for critics.
Yeah, stuff like that. But never heard of it. But what I did find interesting though is that was his only movie up until 1 Hour Photo.
Really?
So from 1985 to 2002, he was a really prolific music video director.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And these are some of the artists that he made music videos for.
Marilyn Manson.
No, David Bowie.
Wow.
Madonna, Lenny Kravitz, Iggy Pop, Nine Inch Nails, R.E.M., Michael Jackson, Macy Gray, Beck, Weezer. Just to name a few.
Okay, I got close with Nine Inch Nails. I'm just saying, I got close.
True.
I said Marilyn, just to the left of Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. So from 85 to 2001-ish, well, I think they started working on this movie around 99, actually. But so to 99,
Wow.
he was just did music videos,
Dang.
which is kind of interesting.
That makes sense. I will say he definitely took a gamble doing a 1 hour photo movie right around the time that digital cameras were really taking off, because if he started working on it like in 99, like you were saying, by 2002 they were pretty much obsolete. Am I wrong? I mean, it was pretty close to that I think we all got rid of cameras.
I don't know if they were actually getting close to obsolete.
People were definitely, I mean, I don't remember taking rolls of film.
Yeah, but the digital era was starting to become more available.
Imagine how tough that would be, though. You spend, I don't know how many millions, because we haven't done that part yet, on this movie, and then the movie releases 3 years later, and you're like, well, when we recorded it, there was a thing where you took little plastic rolls of film and you gave them to strangers, and you said, look at my very intimate picture.
Yeah. Well, because
Which is a great premise.
Yeah.
What this movie is.
In this movie, though, Cy,
Yeah.
The chick, Nina Yorkin, yeah, she comes in and she's like, oh, I was thinking about getting a digital camera. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
That's true.
That'd be terrible.
That line was slid in well placed.
Well, they'd be out of a job.
Yeah,
That's what it
they'd be
says.
out of a job.
Yeah, but I mean, the line fits the character so well.
Oh,
yes.
Like his loneliness, like he's so desperate for that attachment that he freaks out when they mention that they're going to go digital, because then he would be.
Yeah.
He says out of the job, but what he really means is, I'd be out of the job of stalking you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or following
or it would turn into something, like it does in the movie. It would turn to something more physical, and more active on his part than his passive, just kind of. Afar, wanting, needing kind of thing.
I'm glad. Okay, I'm going to say this real quick too. Talking about Robin Williams in that part in particular, I'm glad he didn't go full Jumanji. Like, do you remember in Jumanji whenever...
What year is it?
Not that part. At the end, whenever the parents live, whenever Kirsten Dunst's parents, they live and they come to that party that he invites them to. And they're like, well, this is great. We'll definitely thank you for the job offer. We're definitely going to take you up. We just have to take this flight and go on this little trip in a couple weeks. And they're like, no. And they scream. He's like, no. He's like, no, no, I need you to start sooner to keep them alive. Right. Sai's reaction, Robin Williams' reaction in that one scene, as soon as he's like, no, no, don't do that. Like, you're going to put me out of a job. I'm glad he didn't go full Jumanji. Like, I'm glad he didn't overplay it. Jim Carrey does this once in a while. Although I saw a movie with Jim Carrey called Dark Crimes that is so not Jim Carrey that you don't even recognize it's the same actor. But Jim Carrey will often play in semi-serious roles, but he still has that comedic edge. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that Robin Williams abandoned that comedic edge in this movie.
Yeah, he went full weirdo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this film, I remember, like, at the very end of this movie, I'm like, I need to take a shower. Like, I feel gross watching this movie. It makes me just feel icky all over. Like, It did its job. It did its job because it made, Robin Williams, really funny guy. It made him into some really sadistic character.
Like, wait, are we going to find out that this is based on a true story, but it's not quite based on a true story, John?
I don't know. Maybe it's hidden.
Oh, God. Let me ask you a question. So, in terms of the character Sai, okay, I'm gonna ask you guys this because I felt like there was a subplot that gets really, really glazed over. Did you guys catch why he is the way that he is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Towards the end, you find out.
Yeah.
What was it?
He was abused as a child.
Yes.
From his father.
One line throughout the whole movie. It's one, and I mean, you could almost blink or go to the bathroom for 10 seconds and miss why he was twisted the way he was.
Well, and he didn't actually say that he was abused. He was saying to the cop, he was saying to the detective, you look like a person that doesn't go and beat your child or make your child do things that he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, but since Yorkin didn't do that to his kid, we can only assume it had to be Robin Williams.
Yeah,
he was talking about himself.
Yeah, I mean, you would assume. I'm wondering why that wasn't brought out more throughout the movie.
But they did foreshadow it, I think, in a way.
Did they? Okay.
Of when he was taking pictures of his boss's child.
Yes.
In effect, that was foreshadowing what was being done to him as a child. Not in the same graphic sense of being like child pornography that he was saying.
See, I just took that as a threat to the boss.
It was, but I think there was a connection. I think there was a link between the two things.
And I think what Sai makes, the dad, Will and Maya do in the hotel room. He's saying, no, don't really do it. It's pretend.
Yeah.
That's also something that he went through too.
No, totally. Which I think makes total sense. Had that line or had pieces of that come out beforehand, I think that scene would have been more impactful. Because that scene, probably. I question, like, so the first time I watched this movie, I didn't like it. Granted, it was 20 years ago, but I wasn't a fan. Now, when I watched it, I actually liked it a lot more. But when I watched that scene, I was like, why isn't he going through with it? I don't understand why he doesn't want this to be more in depth.
I think that was done on purpose.
Yeah.
Because it makes us, what's going through the characters' minds? Mm-hmm. Will and Maya. What are they going? They're going, why is he, okay. It's weird that he's broken in and held us at knife point and he's making us do this stuff, but he doesn't want us to do this stuff. Yeah. He's telling us it's pretend. What the hell? So I think we're seeing it from the character's perspective.
Okay, and that's quite possible. I don't know. I just would have. It was so confusing to me that I couldn't, and I don't want to use the word enjoy because that's not the case of that scene.
You couldn't fully understand the director's vision of the scene.
Well,
that's a better explanation of it.
You could enjoy the scene for the filmmaking and what it's trying to do,
the storytelling.
Yeah, well, it's like watching the movie Seven. Like I can't really say I enjoy the movie Seven, but at the same time, I enjoy the movie Seven.
Well, yeah, it's a good movie.
Exactly. So that scene in particular from this movie, I was like, oh, his crazy is fully culminating right now. But it doesn't seem to. It's almost like a fake volcano, like a fake volcano eruption. Like you get a tremor, but no actual boom. And that's I was confused with it until he drops that line about, you know, you don't seem like the type of father that would make your kids do things and take pictures and all that shit. I was like, okay, I can kind of connect that back to what happened with Will, but it almost seemed to be taking place in two slightly different. I don't want to say explanations. That's not really what I mean. It's like two slightly different versions of the film. One version where Cy was like really abused, and the other one where he's going to be this like real sicko. But they didn't seem to coalesce very well. That's probably my only real big critique about this movie, because otherwise, like the part where he breaks into their house and, you know, they come home and all that stuff. Great scene.
Great.
Oh yeah,
it's a great scene, especially since you don't see it coming.
And totally freaked me the hell out. I mean, just to think that, okay, someone could be in my home when I'm not there.
Yeah. Taking a shit on your toilet.
Taking a shit on my toilet, putting on my clothes, drinking my beer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I draw the line.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, no, you know, it was Heineken.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, he can have it.
He was
course
watching
it was.
football.
That- if
That's
that
where
shit's-
Eddie and I draw the line.
That's true.
That's exactly it.
No foosball. But you know what? Did y'all understand? And again, I've watched this like 4 times over the years, but I never understood what the photos were that he took
Oh,
on
yeah.
the table.
Yes.
Never understood that.
So he didn't take actual pictures of Will and,
No.
and
Right.
the mistress.
No, and you know why?
Because he's completely turned off sexually.
There's a line at the beginning of the film.
Okay.
No one takes a picture of something they want to forget.
Right.
Okay.
So he wants to forget his abuse.
Yeah.
He's not going to take a picture of what he's making them do.
Yeah. And he always talks about taking pictures of, you know, the detail. Like, nobody takes pictures of the little details of
Right.
the things that make up the bigger picture of things.
Oh, you know what just hit me too? The camera that he gave the kid for what was the kid's name again? I always mess up the kid's
Jake.
name. Jake.
Yeah.
The camera he gives Jake for his birthday. Jake, whenever he processes the pictures from that, Jake's taking pictures of like bullshit, like
Yeah.
the two corners of a room that are colored.
Yeah.
Cy's a child.
It's very childish.
And
Yeah.
Cy's a child. That's why he took pictures of like doorknobs and shit.
That's a
Yep.
great
Yeah,
explanation.
that's a
I
good
never
ex-
made that connection.
I never did either until literally just now. The second thing, the thing I thought that happened beyond the fact that he didn't take pictures of Will and the mistress, whose name is
Maya.
Maya.
Thank you. I want to call her Brusso for some reason. Is that her last name? Baruso, maybe?
Burson.
Burson. There we go. I thought that it was more of a punishment for them, and it wasn't sexual for him. Like he had no interest in the sexual aspect of it.
Right.
It was more just a punishment for them, and making the dad realize how much he was ruining things and how much she was ruining things, etc.
And Jake hits it on the head whenever he's sad for Cy.
Yeah.
He's like, Cy doesn't have any friends, and that's what I think. Honestly, I think all the character wants is a friend, is somebody. I don't think he sees
Yoshi.
I don't think he sees anybody as a friend, but I think he yearns to have a connection, like a family type connection, because he didn't have that growing up.
Well,
Yeah.
what's interesting to me is up until he finds out that Will cheated on the wife,
Nina.
Thank you. Up until he finds that out, he imagines himself as Uncle Cy.
Yes.
He doesn't imagine himself as the father.
Right.
Right.
Which is interesting. Is that he sees himself in this like disconnected,
Like this platonic.
Well, it's mainly because he doesn't necessarily want to
replace Will. He wants
Will.
to be a part of the
He
party.
wants to be just
Yes.
you know part of the family.
Yeah.
Which isn't your typical stalker story.
Right.
Your typical stalker story is, I love you.
Yeah.
I want to be with you, but he just wanted to be with a family.
Yeah, and see what I was thinking was going to happen, because this is the first time I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
Now, what I thought was going to happen is he was going to either abduct the wife or abduct the kid,
I thought that too
because he had like
yeah.
this huge fascination with like kid things,
Yes.
and so he's like, oh, okay, well here's this toy, and he's like, oh, I'll take you home, and I'm thinking, dude, you're really gonna abduct this
Creepy.
kid,
Yeah, creepy.
and this
stuff.
is gonna turn into a way worse of a movie than I thought it was gonna be.
That's one criticism I have of it too is again, whenever you look at the whole thing, it makes sense. But if you look at it as you're watching it, and I hate to say it any other way,
right?
But it's like when he's doing all the really creepy stalker shit, like hanging out at the soccer game and then bringing the toy to the kid and all that stuff. It seems like it's going down a much different pedophile route,
right?
And I'm like, oh God, please don't let this turn into him. I forgot. Again, it's been 20 years since I saw it, and I'm like,
and like at the very beginning of the movie, you know, he was like, oh, you know, how old is Jacob now? And he's like, oh, is he 9 or 10 or whatever? It's like, wow, you know. I've been developing your pictures, you know, the whole time, and you know, it's just basically I've seen him grow up, and it seems very, I don't know, nice. I don't know, like it seems like I don't know, it's just part of the family. Like, oh, okay,
that's how he sees himself.
Yeah, well, you're going to like your pharmacist or something like that, and you're picking up, you know, medicine for your kid. Okay, this has been your pharmacist. This has been your doctor. Your pediatric doctor or something like that. So it's like, you know, they've seen your kids grow up.
Well, and
he's kind of like in that role.
Exactly. It's similar to how a teacher.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can see teachers that I had in elementary school.
Yeah.
They still know who I am.
Well, it's because you're the same size. Yeah. Go ahead.
Damn, Eddie.
I'm just playing.
Oh,
I'm just joking with you, John.
I'm taking my ball and going
but
home.
but
now you definitely look like the same size.
But to get back to the movie, you know, everybody knows that when you go and get your film developed, people are going to see them.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. But it doesn't stop the weirdos from like taking like sexual pictures and
the amateur porn star guy was hilarious.
Yeah, that was
pretty funny.
But you know, it actually it allowed me to go into the world of a photo developer.
Yeah,
because it's like, oh, you know, I don't really think of those things. It's like, oh, these guys probably see a lot of weird shit, you know, when they're developing these photos, and then you know that's why it doesn't actually cause any like, oh, this guy's a creep. When he's like, oh, I've basically seen him grow up. It's because that's the only place that they've gone to develop their photos.
Yeah, but her reaction to when he says that to her, it is definitely off-putting at first. She does kind of do this, wait, what? And then she goes, oh, that's right, because you develop our photos.
Yeah.
So it is that comment is a little odd still.
Well, it is, but you know, I guess you just don't think that they see everything. Or they kind of have to anyways, just because they're going through and modifying the colors and all that kind of stuff, or at least he is.
What you just pointed out though too with Nina's reaction and stuff, I think the director did miss an opportunity. I think they could have shown this movie more as what you're describing it as, Kyle, which is more like we're going to go into the day in the life of a photo developer guy at a counter. And shown him as being like very normal, like overly like super nice guy, right? Like the nicest guy you know at your office, right? He comes in, he's like, hey, everything's good, you know, everything's cheery. How's it going today? By the way, bright sunshine. And then you follow him home, and you're like, I've got a wall of faces.
Yeah, I mean,
look at my human skin lamp. Like,
I mean, that's a different type of movie.
No,
you know,
it's not. It's very close to what this is. It was just little things though, like you're saying, like her facial reactions and stuff that sort of put you on something's not right. You know what I mean?
Was he watching The Simpsons when there was a line that was said? Yeah. It said something like, "You're the least, you're the person they least expect," or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, the line in the and it was funny because Justin was saying that I picked this movie because of The Simpsons on there, because I'm a Simpsons fan. But no, what it was in The Simpsons was Sideshow Bob.
Yes,
who wants to kill Bart. Sends a letter, and they're like, "Oh, wonder who it could be," and the audience knows, okay, it's Sideshow, not Bob. Sideshow Bart. It's Sideshow Bob. But Homer's like, it's the person you least expect.
Yeah,
okay,
Sideshow Bob.
Yeah,
and that's when they pan over from him in the recliner to the wall of pictures and stuff that are basically hundreds of prints that he's made of the family.
And again, it's just like that's when I thought, oh shit, he's probably gonna like kill the kid or at least kidnap him.
Yeah, I was with you.
Yeah,
I was with you.
It's such a strange movie.
But like I said, I feel like they did a good job. I'm not saying they didn't do a good job. I just feel like what you're saying, like the little ticks here and there, they gave away a lot of something's not right when it could have been a little more suspenseful. That's all I'm saying.
They did that kind of with it was not necessarily suspenseful, but they alluded to things changing with the color in this film.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas when you're in the Save Mart?
Save Mart.
When you're in Save Mart and when you're at the Yorkins' home and when you're outside, the colors are bright. Mm-hmm. But the Save Mart's kind of like washed out. It's almost like a bad bright photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a photo was developed incorrectly type thing.
Well, it reminds me of those stock photos you see of like Walmarts and stuff like that,
Yeah.
where everything is like bright and the colors are super saturated. Like his vest alone made my eyes hurt from the blue.
Yeah.
Of his vest.
The lighting in that place was ridiculous.
But when you look at Cy, he's very white and grayish and tan. He's
very nondescript.
He's very nondescript.
Well,
and the colors in his apartment are the same.
Brown. It's all brown and white. Yeah.
The hotel halls are all the same. And what I noticed was as the film progresses, the color gets more what I termed the Cy theme.
Yes.
The Cy color palette. It more and more progresses towards everything.
Starts to look that way.
Except for, because I mean, eventually Save Mart goes away.
Yeah.
Except for the Yorkins' home.
Yeah.
Is those are those colors?
Well, it begins that way too with the cops. The cop interrogation room is just solidly white with his little brown blob clothing. So self inside of that. It reminds me a lot of who's the director who does Royal Tenenbaums, Life of Steve Zissou.
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Wes Anderson films like that because Wes Anderson plays with color a lot like that.
Yep. I'm glad you brought up the stuff about the Save Mart because I wanted to bring up something that I noticed. This is probably only my second or third time watching this, and it's probably been 15, 20 years since I've seen it.
Well, that's why when I watched it, I was almost brand new to it because I didn't like it the first time. That was literally 20 years ago.
Yeah. So something I noticed on this watch around. There's a lot of shots of seeing people coming up to the photo counter, and we see a lot of point of view shots from Robin to the customer. Right.
Yes.
Did you guys notice like how far apart, like physically, the counter was from like the rest of the store? Like when people would walk these distances, they had to walk across this really empty.
Yes.
Kind of vast area, and I was wondering if they did that on purpose to basically say, subconsciously, Robin Williams is detached from this world.
It's very possible.
I
will say, though, that in a lot of those stores, that is kind of how it is. I mean, like, you go into Publix and stuff, and the pharmacy is a good 10 to 15 feet. I mean, granted, you're saying like 30 feet, and I agree with you.
It's really far.
It's large, yeah. But
it's not necessarily distance. It's the vastness.
Right. There's nothing there. There's no carts.
There's no carts. There's no ads. There's no shelves of tchotchkes and snacks and stuff. There's nothing but white tile.
Yeah, so maybe it is.
To add to that, though, it's at the very entrance of the store.
Right.
So to have the entrance of the store to be this empty space, and then you have the photo developing place in this corner, it is off-putting. It's like it's weird that it's right there.
Well, I do wonder too, because I feel like whenever he goes back to develop his pictures of his boss, what's his boss name again? Bill, which is the same name he had in Office Space, and I love that. He's like, okay,
I'm gonna
anyway.
come to you on Saturday.
Speaking of some TPS reports,
speaking of names, Cy's last name?
No, I didn't.
Parrish.
As in Alan Parrish.
As in Alan Parrish and Jumanji
funny.
that you brought up.
Yeah, so maybe that's what happened to him.
Interesting.
But talking about whenever he comes back to develop those pictures of Bill's kid, it doesn't seem as empty, and it doesn't seem as far from the front door to the desk. So I'm wondering if when we're getting those POV shots from Cy's perspective, quote unquote, over the counter towards the people,
it's intentional.
If that's his perspective,
right? Is
that his perspective? Is there's all this distance and this I'm secluded in this corner and whatnot. I was wondering too. Whenever he takes those photos of the little kid Jake's pictures that he develops, and he goes and cries in that corner by himself. Where the fuck is he? Like, where in that? It's a little photo development booth, and Yoshi works there at least part time, and he seems to be all alone.
Well, he's the store's closed.
Yeah.
Oh, was the store closed at that point? Is that what it was? Okay,
he never gave his keys back.
Yeah.
Because when he told Yoshi's like, I'm not coming in anymore.
Oh, he developed the pictures before that scene. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'm with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. But he told Yoshi, I'm not coming anymore. Bill fired me, yada yada.
Yeah.
He's walking out of the store when he unlocks the case.
Yes.
So he's never given his keys back.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I was just confused as to where he. I knew he like sits down behind the machines in the photo booth or something, but
it looked like a storage room.
Maybe it looked like just part of the lab,
like the back room or something.
Just
because they have like dark rooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
and it was red light, so it might have been some type of former development room.
Okay, it was a little confused. It didn't bother me. I was just like, where the hell is he? I mean, like, this is it's a weird scene. Like, he found a very secluded spot.
As opposed to other weird scenes in the film?
No, true. That's true.
It's okay. Well, since we're talking about weird scenes, the nightmare that happens.
Oh.
Yeah.
I jumped out of my skin.
Did you?
Yes.
It definitely caught me off guard.
I was lucky. I was like, because I typically watch a lot of them that movies my wife doesn't have any interest in, like this one. I watch at night in my office in the dark, and a lot of times we have a cat, and he has claws, and he's very ornery. Okay. So you piss him off, you're gonna get scratched. And I'm lucky I didn't have him. I'm lucky I wasn't holding him, because I would be dead. I jumped off the couch.
Well, so what made you jump so much about it? Because I watched it. It didn't make me because you're saying you jumped too. Colin,
well, it was is where they like sped up the film in a way, because they did a really close push onto his face, and then he started to have a red tear, like blood tear, and then all of a sudden it was just out, like a smash cut of a bus shot, and he's just spewing blood out of his eyes and screaming, and then it's just another smash cut of him waking up. I think it was just a jump scare type thing.
Yeah, it was a jump scare, similar to hey honey, look at this photo of these cute balloons, this cute kid holding balloons, and and then the scary face with the loud noise comes up and scares the hell out of you. It was that.
Well, that, and
I wasn't expecting it.
I had the volume kind of turned up because I had an issue with the dialogue.
Yes.
And I had the subtitles on the whole time.
And the action scenes and everything, because like the very, very beginning, the 20th Century Fox stuff comes on and everything. It's like, okay, this is usually where I turn up the volume to set the level for the whole film. Jokes on me. Because when he's in that interrogation room, I'm like, the fuck?
I had to turn it up more.
What are they saying?
Yeah.
No,
I had to turn my speakers all the way up almost, and I'm like, what are they saying? It's crazy.
Normally on my television, my system, I have to be on a like 12, volume level 12, right? Mm-hmm. This film, I was on a 36.
Damn.
Jesus.
And then once in a while, whenever it got louder, I had to turn it down to like a 28. But it was on 36.
So mine wasn't mine wasn't that drastic though. Like I definitely had to watch it with subtitles, but it wasn't that drastic. That's weird.
I'm wondering if you can, since you were able to read the.
I think.
Well, now I moved by twos, by the way.
Well, I'm wondering if
it's
the DVD.
It's all twos. It's not singles. So.
I'm wondering if the DVD that you guys got from Redbox might have had issues.
Possible.
Might
you know what I mean?
Well, to go back to the nightmare thing.
Yeah.
My question about that, was it necessary?
No.
Yeah, I see. I don't know where that came from, unless the red was like all of the development fluid or something like that. That's just like spewing out of his face.
I don't know, because it didn't make sense to me. I didn't get the symbolism. I didn't get the metaphor.
Well, there's a couple of scenes like that, like the scene where he's all wrapped up in the chemical gear and he's pouring out the chemicals. Again, I did not remember how this movie ended, so I'm like, did he use the chemicals on the dad? Is that how? Because I remember that there was a conflict, but I couldn't remember what he did to the dad. And well, also kind of at the beginning, the cop says, what did you do? What did Will Yorkin do to you to make you do that to him? Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I'm like, did he use the chemicals on the dad? Like, this could be fucking good. Why would I have not liked this movie?
Why would I have not liked this movie?
Well, yeah, because I mean,
it involves revenge killing. I don't know.
I'm totally down, right? But I question why that scene, why show him like pouring the chemicals out and stuff? Why not just have him at the desk and Bill call him to the office to fire him? It just made no sense for him to
because
in that gear.
I thought the same thing. I was like, well, shit, he's gonna put the kid in this liquid,
something,
and dissolve him or something like that. And it's kind of like that movie, The Lovely Bones.
Yeah.
That's where I thought this movie was actually going to go, and I'm like, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it was really strange.
Maybe that's what they were doing. Maybe the director was playing with it.
Yeah,
they were like, okay, you know what? It's a thriller. I'm making a thriller. I don't want you to know where this is going to go.
Yeah, put me on a wild goose chase.
Yeah, because I mean, you're always thinking like many times in this conversation we said, well, I thought it was going to do this, I thought it was going to do that, I thought it was going to do this.
Yeah.
So I mean, none of us saw where it was going to end up,
and it's obviously this director wants to play with those ideas because of the scene in the family's home. You know, when they come home,
right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
they're accepting of him.
That's my thing, is that there seems to be so there's a certain amount of scenes in this movie that you can draw a straight line through, even with the director playing with these notions that make sense being played with on a straight line. And then every once in a while there's this scene that doesn't help the movie move forward, and in some ways it confuses the movie, like the dream scene you guys were talking about, or again, I'm just questioning why the chemicals. I don't give a shit. It's not a big deal. He was doing his job. I really don't care that much. But the thing is, why go? It was so drastic. It wasn't like he was just on there, pouring something. We don't need to know what it is. It was like you watch him walk up. He's kind of, manhandling this jug. He's covered in, with the chemical gear on. He's got the mask on. You start to see him pour it. Then you see Bill, and he turns around all creepy and looks up at the. Why that? Why not just have him sitting at the desk or working in the processing center with Yoshi and get called to the office?
Either they hired a photo developing expert.
Yeah, and there was some guy who was like, at some point he's going to have to enter the chemicals, guys. It's got to happen.
He's developing a lot of fucking photos. And it could have been that line that his boss Bill, because he's like, why are you dressed like that?
Yeah,
right.
Like what's up with the gloves and everything? He's like, well, it's Tuesday. We unload this chemical, and like, I don't really care. You're fired.
I gotta fix the blue shift.
I like your notion that it was some consultant, some photo development consultant, because they just so.
Maybe, I mean...
Hundreds of prints, guys. Hundreds of prints, okay? Yeah. At some point, he's going to have to empty that machine.
We're going for realism here.
And if it's off by 0.3 microns or whatever, I'm like, okay.
There's too much cyan in this one.
I'm wondering if they really brought in somebody, but like, is this the way shit goes?
I did like how psychotic he was about the machines and getting the right color tones and stuff. I actually liked that.
The reason I like that scene is because that's the first time we see him blow up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
And we see that he is capable of just snapping.
Just a very passionate man.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a model employee.
About photos. Which makes sense. Again, that's why I just wish there would have been some more than one line that told us that his dad was abusing him. That's
it wasn't like they didn't have time.
True, I agree.
Because it was only an hour and 30 minutes.
I feel like it was fine. I like the bomb drop at the end.
I do too. I do too. And the realization that I quite literally just had, his dad abused him, took photos and all this stuff, and he ends up being a photo developer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of weird.
No, it's totally weird. Yeah. See, my thought on it is that he probably, and don't get me wrong, this is me jumping a little bit, but I think that he probably, in the middle of being abused, sort of went to this dream world of what a family should be like. And he has now been able to replace that dream family with the Yorkins.
Right.
And, and is living out that fantasy, quote unquote, through their photos, thus bringing together both his childhood abuse past and his, dream world, bringing those two things together. It totally makes sense. I just wish there had been some pieces, something like, I don't know, just something that told us, like, one little line somewhere else that says something, or even to the cop. Hey, he said something to the cop, like, well, a good father is something that, a little boy should cherish, or a father should cherish their child, not hurt them, or something at the beginning.
Or look up to them, or something like that.
Just something that kind of tells me,
I can go with that.
Okay, so there's a reason why he's obsessed with the family, not necessarily with the kid, or not necessarily with the mom.
I'm wondering if they actually would have put that scene towards at the very beginning, instead of actually cutting from after when the cop says, what did this dad do to you, or what
so
did
you're
this guy
thinking
do
it was
to you?
written, all that was one scene that they probably, the editor probably had a choice to put that towards the end as a bomb drop instead of.
But if we had seen that at the beginning, then Cy's whole character would have been different, because Cy blows up at the cop at that. Had we seen that he had the ability to blow up and have anger and stuff, it would have been a completely different character.
Yeah. If it was written like that, then that editor did a great choice.
I agree.
Moving that to the end.
100% agree. Yeah, and I don't think it's badly placed. I do like it. I like it where it's at. I just wish we had a couple of little nuggets throughout the movie that kind of led us towards, hey, this guy, he's psychotic, but he's psychotic because his father abused, because something happened in his childhood. And then we get to the end and his dad like took fucking kiddie porn pictures of him. Oh my God. You know, and then you start to question, well, who's the real victim in all this? It's still the Yorkins, to be clear, but he was a victim himself.
Yeah, I
know what
mean, it does play with, makes you feel bad a little bit for him, leading up to his aggressive character arc that he goes into.
Yeah.
I was actually really curious to see if they actually hired some sort of consultant that was like a photo developer. Apparently not.
Oh, so much of it's wrong.
Yeah, the AGFA engineer discusses a 0.3 blue shift, but Cy later tells the manager that the shift is towards cyan. Although in layman's terms cyan is light blue, blue is technically an equal mixture of cyan and magenta. A photo technician would not use those terms interchangeably. So obviously they didn't have a photo developing expert.
But
what about CMYK though?
Based on a true story.
I want to point out that it's now a 2. No, I'm just kidding. Jeez.
I don't know if I buy that.
Which part?
I don't know, the CMYK.
Yeah, because what about the
cyan,
printing? Yeah, because CMYK.
Cyan
C
and
stands for
magenta.
cyan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think what they're saying there is whenever you do blues in a photo, it's not just cyan that gets put in.
Right.
That's all they're saying with it.
Well, he says that it shifts towards cyan, so it's
more
cyan
blue
than
than
magenta.
I'm with you. I didn't really see a whole problem with it, but I'm also not a photo developer. I don't. That's one hobby I don't have.
And going back to the chemical thing, I mean, this might have been some maybe the director is sad that film is going, that still photography is going digital, and he wants to show how important and how much dangerous and how much work actually goes into developing photos.
I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see if this was shot on film or digital.
I tried to look it up just now, and I couldn't easily find it.
It looks like it's shot on film. It has a look of it. Yeah.
Oh, there was a couple scenes though that it was shaking.
Yes, I noticed that. There was a scene with Bill where it's shaking bad, and I was like, I had to look at I looked at the damn subtitles. I was like, is this shaking? I was like, no, the subtitles are still. The movie is definitely shaking.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
So I don't know if that was just
in the office whenever Bill is first talking to him or I think he's getting ready to fight.
It was one was in the break room.
Yes, it was the break room.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. He's talking with Bill, and the whole fucking thing is shaking back and forth, and I'm like, what is wrong with this right now?
It couldn't have been that bad.
I thought it was my eyes, because sometimes if your eyes like shake back and forth, it's like, ugh, this is
After
really
this
bad.
is over, I'll play it for a minute. I got to show you, because it was bad enough for me to be like, what is going on? I looked at the subtitles, and I was like, what? No, the subtitles are not moving. The film is definitely moving. This is strange.
And that's probably just a bad... not a projector, but when they copy the film to digital, for DVDs and stuff like that, it's probably just a bad
replication
or something like that. That's what I interpret it.
No, I it's definitely not enough. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna ding it for any points. It's not like there was a boom mic in this scene or anything. But it's definitely. I agree.
It happened twice, and I'm like, ooh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely didn't mean anything. It wasn't there for artistic purposes. It was just a flaw in the development.
So basically, our cut, we'd cut out the nightmare scene. We got that
pretty much.
Yes.
Let's see if we'd also make the same decision here. Robin Williams wasn't the first choice to play Cy.
No, he was not.
Christian Bale. No. Okay.
No.
Lenny Kravitz.
No.
Lenny Kravitz would be a good one. Yeah.
No, it was actually Jack Nicholson.
Oh.
Who was their first pick? Who turned it down?
Jack Nicholson, like Easy Rider Jack Nicholson, or Jack Nicholson like Wolf?
Jack Nicholson in like 99.
Like Joker?
No, he was doing Wolf and stuff with what's her name?
Wasn't he Joker in
that was
98?
That was 89 that he was Joker.
89, it was 89. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Robin Williams did a fantastic job in this.
Well,
I think he did too.
You know what he was
carried
able to,
the entire film.
Yeah.
You know what he was able to pull off that Jack Nicholson wouldn't be able to pull off? I don't think very well. When was Wolf? Hold on one second.
Well, I think a reason why Robin Williams really does really well in this is you don't really see him in that off character.
Yeah.
And in a way it's kind of refreshing because you're not expecting to get a laugh from him. Mm-hmm. or you may expect to get a laugh from him, but you're just not getting it, and it's just like, okay, there's seriously something wrong with this dude.
Yeah, I mean, we see him play this type of character once before in like 2001, I think, was Insomnia.
Oh, Insomnia,
where he plays that same kind of character.
Yeah, he does.
And what's interesting is he plays this, not this specific character, but really close to this character in a movie. I want to say it's like 2008-ish or something like that. It's called Final Cut.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same.
He's holding up film in that movie, too.
That's strange.
His job is an editor for people's funerals.
Mm-hmm.
They would take like their memories out of their heads.
That's right.
He would edit their memoir, and they would play it at their funeral. But then he sees that one of the guys was unfaithful, and he gets into it there.
Weird.
Yeah, it's almost the same kind of movie. It's the same character almost.
I didn't even put those two together.
So you're talking about Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson in 99.
Yeah, 94 he did Wolf with Michelle Pfeiffer, right? 97, I believe, he did As Good as It Gets. Okay. The thing about Jack Nicholson to me is that he's a good actor, right? But he's pretty much always like snarky asshole,
right,
in every single role.
Yeah.
And I would have trouble seeing him in a role where he's supposed to be like diminutive in some instances, or diminished in a way. I don't think he can pull that off.
No, I don't think he can. I think you're exactly right. He can't be subtle. I don't think.
Well, yeah, I couldn't imagine him sitting at the counter and being like, hey, Mrs. Jorgen,
right.
he would just come across as like sleazy,
Yes.
not necessarily sad.
Just straight up
what I mean?
creep.
Yeah, you're just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And that look that Robin Williams
pulled
gives
off. Yeah.
in the just the beginning of the film, when the camera pulls out, right before they go into the story, that sets the mood for the whole film.
Yeah,
That's
I agree with you.
him going, okay, get ready for some depressing shit.
Well, Robin Williams wasn't even their first choice. Well, obviously Jack Nicholson was their first choice, but Robin Williams wasn't even considered for the role of Cy. He was actually scheduled to play Bill, the manager.
Really?
What?
Such a small role?
That doesn't.
Well,
What happened,
fit at
according to what I read, is Williams wanted to be in the movie because he liked the script, but then apparently he read the script for a second time and went like, "Wait a minute, I think I could do this better."
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he went to the director, Mark and Romanek, that's his name. He went to the director and said, "Can I get this role of Cy?" And since Jack Nicholson turned him down, they were like, "Well, I got Robin Williams here wanting to play the lead. Let's give it a shot."
Wow.
And again, I think Robin Williams is able to play like nerdy small guy, and he pulls that off. Robin Williams is a pretty versatile actor overall.
Yes.
He did a lot of comedies, but like for instance, Good Morning Vietnam is one of my favorite movies with him in it, and I know it's not a fantastic movie. I want to be clear.
It's a fun movie.
I like it.
That's not even why I like it, though. It's not because it's fun to me. What I like about it is the emotional roller coaster that if you take out of it that it's a comedy, if you forget that it's supposed to be funny, it's fucking sick. It's a sad, sick movie. It's like you're watching this guy who knows that he's in the middle of craziness, who's in the middle of chaos, right, in the middle of war, doesn't 100% agree with what's happening, etc., and is dealing with things coming, back and forth. There's some funny parts to it, but it's actually a really sad movie in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
And he pulls off this emotional roller coaster. I mean, making friends with a kid who ends up being a terrorist. I mean, just like all these things that he does it in a really, really good way. And I think in this movie, he kind of does the same thing. He's able to give you, Cy, the nerdy Photoshop guy who's just hungry, and then the Cy, the serial killer looking guy, Cy the pedophile, Cy the it's this one's in a tube, like it's all he's doing all kinds of stuff, and he does it well.
The first time that I realized that Robin Williams is like an exceptional actor was when I saw him in Insomnia in that role there. But since we're talking about acting ability here, I was curious to see, was this nominated for any Oscars, whatever. Not a one.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I was going to say 2002 though. What
it'd be 2003 Oscars. 2003.
Yeah. So what did get nominated?
So lead actor went to Adrian Brody from The Pianist, which is a good movie.
That's a hell of a good movie.
Yeah,
that's a hard one to be.
That's a hard one to be up against. Cinematography went to Conrad Hall from Road to Perdition, which Conrad Hall
And
He's got my man crush.
And
Yeah.
Road to
For
Perdition's pretty
cinematographers,
good. Yeah.
Directing went to Roman Polanski for The Pianist.
Yep.
And Best Picture went to Chicago,
Oh.
which
Eh.
I'm a huge... I love Chicago. So,
Yeah.
the other nominees for Best Picture that year, I always like to look this up too.
Yeah.
Gangs of New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, actually.
Yeah.
Mine too.
The Hours, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and
Jesus.
The Pianist.
Okay.
So hard.
It's a tough year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am okay. I will say I'm not surprised it didn't get a nomination.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's
There's a lot of competition there.
well, not just that. There's some flaws in this movie. It's not perfect. I mean, cinematography. I do think that cinematography they probably should have been nominated. I think it was pretty solid, other than the shaky camera work. It was pretty solid.
Just in those two scenes, and I don't think it was actually shaky camera
I'm just
work.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
But I mean, not to be nominated though, when 3 years prior, Training Day, Denzel gets Best Actor for Training Day. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, Training Day was good, but it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't. To me, it wasn't Oscar worthy.
Can I tell you what I think the big
But it's
difference is?
Denzel.
It's not just that. This movie came out in 2002,
Right.
but if you think about the feel and the look of this movie, it comes across like a 1997, 1996 movie.
It does.
It
It's
feels
almost like
older.
it almost is like a 90s movie, just because I mean the characters are all 90s-esque.
Yeah, you got the dad who's kind of like, I'm banging my secretary. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's very.
Well,
it's-
I believe I said 99 earlier, but I think to be more accurate, I think it was towards the almost end of 98 is when they started shooting.
it feels dated, and
But it does, yeah.
And Wes Anderson does the same thing, but he does it in a way that's like, hey, this is gonna feel dated. Welcome.
Right?
Well, it's
This-
a
welcome to
Wes
my time period.
Anderson.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you go into the movie,
Exactly. This movie,
except for Life Aquatic, which was not good.
see, I like the Life Aquatic, but we can disagree.
Oh,
Oh, I
don't
hate
put that
that
on your
movie.
list.
I'm not, but I didn't like it a lot. I didn't mind it. But
Yeah, I didn't like it a lot.
But this movie,
I didn't like it a lot.
especially the outside shots are very shiny. Like,
Yes.
it reminds me of like made for TV movies in like 1995.
The focus was very soft.
Very, very solid. And
Yeah.
that's a problem. I think that probably impacted a lot of the. I remember when I watched it in 2002, I didn't like it. I left the movie theater and I was like, I wasn't impressed. So, I mean, it wasn't. The storyline, even back then, was fine, but the look just bothered me. It just felt very old.
Oh, I like the look.
But see, it's kind of like whenever you go back and watch The Matrix now, The Matrix has some very odd scenes in it that are not, the scenes themselves look okay for the most part. But then there's some that just feel very dated, like the office scenes and stuff. They feel very like early 90s. It just
Yeah.
looks like, like you're watching a TV movie in 93.
Those are the times.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what you were saying earlier with the Oscars and stuff. I mean, this didn't really come out at a good time, anyways.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, it came out late August, early September. So, like beginning of school year, not a whole lot of people are going out and watching movies. It's in that little time slot that's just like, okay, we're gonna release the movie, but we're not really expecting a huge return. But with that, what do you guys think the budget was for this movie?
I don't think it was much.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'll say 20 million.
Okay.
I think it's pretty low.
John?
I'm gonna go 50 million.
I'm going lower. I'm going to go 12.
Wow. We have, I think, the first right-on
Really?
answer, and it's $12 million.
Yeah, I'm going 12. Yeah.
12 million. I think you looked like
I
you
didn't.
cheated.
No, I didn't. But the reason why I said 12, honestly, was it seems like they did it on. It reminds me of Wes Anderson stuff. Like, most of his films don't cost a lot of money either.
I think there's only
especially early
4
ones.
locations in this movie.
The Save Mart,
Yeah.
Dorkin's
The
house,
house.
Yeah. The
police-
hotel.
the hotel,
His
the police
house.
station a little bit in his house,
Yeah. Well, maybe 5
And
places.
then all the,
and then the
driving.
streets. Yeah.
And that's it.
Which
I mean,
none of those streets are closed, if you noticed. They're just filming them. Just hey, there's cars. Just drive.
I mean, they're
it
probably
might have been closed.
Yeah, I mean they had.
But
to
they're
have
very
closed it.
short periods of
yeah,
release.
it's
anyway.
not much. Yeah.
All right, so opening weekend. So this technically came out August 25th, even though the release date was September 13th of 2002
Oh,
or
I've
2002.
got mine out. Go ahead.
Well, you go ahead. You got on the dot.
I'm gonna say 250,000.
Okay.
I was gonna say 150.
Okay. John,
400,000.
and you said 250?
I did.
I think yeah, John's closest. $321,515 was opening weekend.
Wow.
No, I'm closest. I'm 71,000 away. Oh no, wait, you're 70. Yeah, I'm 71,000 away. He's 79,000 away.
I'm sorry for my quick math.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Beat you by $8,000.
Look at me. I'm Eddie. I have to win everything.
Yeah, I know, right? Can't
all right.
give John a win. He
Wait, you said 400, right?
Yeah.
And it was how much?
321.
Yeah, so 70. Yeah, I'm right.
yeah.
I think.
You're right.
Well,
We
no,
got
now
it.
I'm questioning my own math.
No, we
damn
got
it.
it. It's
You
okay.
should.
I'm not a math guy.
I don't have
throw
this
numbers.
huge. I don't have this huge calculator.
Damn it. Now I'm in a question because I
All
don't
right.
want to take it away from John.
All right, so no,
it's fine.
We're moving on. Gross USA. How much do you think it made in the United States?
Geez. 100 million.
Okay. John, what do you think?
60 million.
Okay.
How much they made in the U.S.?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said 100.
I
I think it's too high.
I'm going 18.
And John, you said 100?
No, he said
No, I said 60.
60.
Yeah, Eddie's closest. It's 31,597,000. So
John's giving me the worst look.
so the actual cumulative worldwide gross total money that's ever made, 52 million.
Yeah, that one you would have gotten. Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely made its money
money
back. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was because of the cast. It was Robin Williams,
Yeah.
and that brought a lot of people to the movie.
Well, they didn't release it at a good time of the year. For them to release it in September, that's why all my numbers dropped, by the way. Because I was going to say higher, but with it being a fall release,
Yeah,
fall releases are never popular.
nobody. Yeah,
No,
it's
this was-
beginning of school.
Yeah,
was it Labor Day? Not even. It's no Labor Day is like late or mid September, late September. So it's just before Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
It's not on a Labor Day weekend, so I mean, it's like, you know, kind of a crappy timeline.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
So let's think about the Rotten Tomatoes aspect of it then. So what do you guys think that the critics gave 1 Hour Photo?
80%.
Yeah, I'm
John.
gonna go 83%.
Uh-oh.
84%.
Ooh,
Well, you should have went somewhere in the middle, John.
Damn.
It was 82.
So we split it.
all right.
Yeah.
I get to split a point with Eddie.
No, and that means more.
That's okay. The points don't mean anything.
So what do you think that the audience gave it then?
I'm going a 78.
I'm gonna go probably around the same, 83.
80.
65.
Oh damn!
Wow, that much of a disparity.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Maybe
from
they didn't like
82
the,
to 65.
What didn't they like? Did you look up any of like what they
It was the
complained
look,
about?
Eddie. No, I have no
No, I was
idea.
curious.
I
the
don't know.
nightmare
It
scene.
was out of focus.
Yeah. The shaky camera in the break room. Yeah, there was a comment
Well,
about
because
that.
I will say this: if you go into this going, "Oh, it's Robin Williams," it's Robin Williams.
Yeah,
Like,
it is-
This is going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
That could throw you,
Right.
True.
You know what I mean? So then you
I
would
don't-
score it lower.
I don't like seeing the funny man in a mean role.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. Right?
This guy was really sick.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Ew.
going to be like Jumanji.
Yeah. What year is it?
His dad touched him. But yeah, I mean, yeah,
Jesus.
it was like Alan
technically, I
Parrish
guess.
did not nice things.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no, again, and I hate to. I'm not going to try to drill this into the ground, but I am going to say I am going to score the movie a little lower
But with
because
that-
I wish they went down that road more. You
Go
know
ahead.
what I
and-
mean?
yeah,
No,
go ahead and-
no,
go ahead and
John
rate
do
it.
it. Yeah.
Oh, John's score.
Yeah, so
okay.
John, bring us home.
Well, I'll say that Ebert, 3.5 stars
Wow.
out of 4. He really liked the movie. I think that Robin Williams was fantastic in this movie, for being someone who is known as a funny man.
Mm-hmm.
His acting chops were amazing. I love the play. I love the color play in the film. I sat after the movie was over, and I'm like, wow, the color was awesome. I mean, my notes that I wrote down. I mean, I'm like, got 2 pages of color, handwritten very poorly, large, but because I have small hands and everything,
And you're watching movies in the dark. So
and I
you can't
write
see
them
your
with
paper.
crayon. Yeah.
Jesus,
So,
it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
but yeah, I really really like this film, because it's unassuming. It's just it is what it is. It doesn't. I mean, you could say it tried to trick you, but I like it. It's not one that's like it's not obvious trickery.
Well, you knew something was up. I mean, he was in the police station to start from the beginning.
Right.
You know something
was
happened
up.
to the dad.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's only so much between, hey, we're going to show you the ending,
right,
and then we're going to go back to how we got there. We know he does something to end up with the cops.
And the whole film, you're kind of like, okay, what's his angle? What's he? It's always you're always thinking.
Yes.
While you're watching the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just the small things that. Like the photos at the end where he lays them out. It's like, okay, how does that tie in? Oh yeah, it ties in here. It ties in on all these places.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to give this film a solid 8.
Wow.
Okay. An 8 from John. And yeah, kind of tacking on to what John said, I'm probably what everybody's going to say. Robin Williams' performance in this was fantastic.
Yep.
I love him as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Final Cut, Insomnia, all great. Well, I don't remember Final Cut was great. I had to go back and watch that again. But actually, I thought everybody's acting was pretty good in this, to be honest. And I love the like you were saying, John, the colors and stuff. I love that. I love the psychological stuff that we were talking about. Like Eddie, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together of the kids, Jake's pictures, paralleling with him taking his pictures kind of thing. That elevated the movie a little bit in my mind. So actually, yeah, John, I was actually going to give it the same exact score of an 8.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So first off, I want to say I agree with you. Robin Williams did a great job. I think it's the same type of vulnerability that he had in Good Will Hunting. Completely different character. Okay, completely different character. But in Good Will Hunting, he's this, hey, I'm the psychiatrist. I'm gonna push you and all that. But at the same time, I kind of have this vulnerability, and again, he's able to work those angles of a character, those the dynamics of being of a good character. Again, I think we lost a lot whenever Robin Williams died. So
yeah,
or killed himself, I guess. I do think that there's a couple of flaws in it. They're not gigantic, but I wish that they had tweaked a couple of things here and there. And the overall movie as a whole, it feels it feels like they wanted to push some boundaries and they kind of held back. Like, one interesting thing, just to point this out real fast, Robin Williams never 100% becomes a bad guy. Now, granted, he basically rapes those 2 people. I'm not saying that that's not okay. That's okay, excuse me. I'm not saying that that's okay. However, he doesn't kill them. He doesn't, he doesn't like chop the dad into small pieces for doing anything. He doesn't abduct the kids.
Right.
And we find out that the main reason why he doesn't even keep the pictures that he supposedly took of the people. The main reason why he was going through all that is because he was so scarred in his own mind. The director kind of works in this, I'm going to say gray area, even though it's really not. Let's be clear.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
He basically raped him, but there's like this weird gray area where he's almost still kind of a good guy who's just extremely hurt. Like who's in extreme mental anguish. You know what I mean? That's delicate. That's hard to do. You know what I mean? But I don't know if that was 100% the intention either. It's kind of it's weird to me because, I mean, again, he basically rapes 2 people. It's kind of hard to say that I don't give a shit if you are a victim. You do that to my family or me, I hope you die in prison. You know, so I don't know. But I do think overall the movie was a fuck ton better than what I remember 20 years ago. Hands down, watching it at 19 was not the right time to watch that movie.
Yeah.
So this was a much better watch. On that note, I am going to give it a
2.
No.
Oh,
Not that low.
How low can you go?
6.8.
6.8.
6.8.
6.8.
6.8. Yep.
Okay.
I liked it a pretty good amount, but it did feel, there was parts of it especially that I'm like, I don't understand why that's there, and then it felt a little 90s.
Yeah. I'm kind of going to be in between, John and Justin and you, Eddie, because I don't, it deserves probably a little bit higher score than a 6.8.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know if it deserves an 8. So, I mean, you guys said pretty much everything that I was probably going to say here, but I mean, I'm probably just going to give it a 7.5.
Okay, 7.5 for Kyle, which means that 1 Hour Photo scores a 7.6 on average.
Okay.
Which I think is really fair for that movie.
Yeah.
Because that, again, I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't. I think it's a very good movie. And if somebody was to say, can you list off, out of Robin Williams' more serious films, can you list off one I should watch? This would be in that list.
Yeah. I would actually kind of recommend this movie to somebody if they're looking for that kind of film from Robin Williams.
Yes.
My first suggestion would be Insomnia. this one.
Insomnia's
Oh,
pretty.
yeah.
I see. Good Will Hunting would be pretty high up.
Yeah, that's true.
I like Good Will Hunting.
Dead Poet Society.
Exactly.
Oh,
Dead
yeah,
Poet Society would be really high on that list for me. Like, there's other films that he's done.
Patch Adams.
Patch Adams. Fucking. I cry every time with that movie.
Yeah,
God.
just give me the box of
Oh my
tissues.
God. What Dreams May Come.
Oh yeah, that's a
Jesus.
good one
That's
too.
another box of tissues.
Here's my heart. Just rip it out. Just tear it out of my chest.
That's on my list, by the way.
Oh God.
Well,
Please no.
R.I.P. Ron Williams.
Yes, R.I.P. Robin Williams. So, John, we need to spin to see who's going to be picking for the next movie.
Well, thank God it's not John and What Dreams May Come. Jesus Christ. Cry myself to sleep until the next episode.
All right, here we go.
So it's between Justin.
It's gonna be Kyle.
Yeah, I told you it wasn't going to be me.
You know,
It's okay. I'm not mad. I'm just saying, like I said earlier, I'm like, it helped on him as as a test run. I'm like, it's definitely not going to be me today.
we have a pretty good stride of good movies. I got to throw in a curveball over here.
Let's do it. Actually, we have
Here
we
comes
have
a
fans.
two.
We have fans that tell us that the worst movies are some of our best episodes.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh, wow.
All right, and
And on that note,
your genre is. Here we go.
I just don't want romance again. Woo! It's a lot of films. A lot of genres.
It's gonna be drama.
Drama.
just please make it from like the last 50 years. Just the last 50 years. The 70s forward. Come on.
70s forward? Okay,
Please.
well.
this is drama.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm actually going to pick something slightly earlier than the 70s.
Okay.
Just slightly
1932.
earlier. No. Close.
Okay. King Kong.
1963.
Okay.
It's called Love with the Proper Stranger. This actually includes Steve McQueen and Natalie Wood. So the synopsis is a sales clerk at Macy's department store finds herself pregnant after a one-night stand with a musician who does not even remember her.
So where's the car coming to? There's no cars, there's no chases.
Yeah, Steve McQueen.
No, this is
Okay.
and for being in the early 60s and dealing with, pregnancy out of wedlock or something like that. So it's like it's
Yeah.
very
Edgy.
edgy
Yeah.
for its time.
Taboo.
I can see that. Yeah.
Very edgy. And it's like, what happens due to the pregnancy and all that kind of stuff.
I'll just be looking for either the motorcycle or the car. That's all I'm saying. There's got to be one in this movie.
What
But-
prison does he break out of?
right.
Yes, that's it.
No, he's just
When
a
did the Nazis get there?
he's just a musician that likes to sleep around. So there he
As
is.
musicians.
There's Steve McQueen.
What's the runtime on this, by the way?
Hour 42.
Okay.
So not too bad.
7 hours.
I know, right?
Yep. So if you want to follow along with the Screen Riot crew, you need to check out the drama film Love with the Proper Stranger from 1963. If you don't know where to find it, if you just go to justwatch.com, just search for the movie, and it'll tell you where it's streaming or where you can rent it or where you can get it and all that stuff. So we would also really appreciate it if you'd leave us a review on your favorite podcasting app. It just takes 10 seconds, just a couple taps, and it helps us out a lot more than you actually know. And so for our newer listeners of the show, you need to check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/screenriot, where we have all kinds of benefits for joining. And speaking of our Patreon members, the Patreon exclusive episode for the month of February is Hidden Figures from 2016. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you check it out. So with that, guys, I think we're out of here.
All right.
Sounds
See
good.
ya.
See ya.